Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Starkside. While you're here, I do appreciate it if you support the channel by hitting that like button, and if you're new here, please hit that subscribe, as well as the notification bell. So today we'll be talking about the Star Wars The Black Series Return of the Jedi 40th Anniversary's R2-D2. So this figure is actually the first new R2-D2 figure from Hasbro in many years, and this is something that I've been wanting to have in my Black Series collection for a long time. I haven't been able to get my hands on the previous Black Series R2 figure for two reasons. First and foremost, that R2 figure has become super expensive and super rare, so it's really hard to find. Next is its size didn't really scale well with other Black Series figures, so it looked really small, I think, which is actually the main reason why I went for the Bandai model kit R2-D2 that you guys see in each review's stop motion opening sequence. Now, the reason why this isn't in its packaging right now is because the packaging got wrecked during the delivery. I still have the packaging here. As you can see, it doesn't look good right now, but still, going over it. At the front, we get this nice artwork of R2-D2 and C-3PO. What's weird about this is this artwork is not from Return of the Jedi, but from Empire Strikes Back, where we have a scene where R2-D2 tries to scan for Luke in the ice planet of Hoth. Anyway, at the top here, it says Return of the Jedi and a stylized spelling of R2-D2 below it. And at the back, we get the rest of the figures from the 40th anniversary line, as well as a short description commemorating said event. And that's that. So since we have R2-D2 already outside of the packaging, let's take a closer look at his accessories. So R2-D2 comes with a lot of accessories, a lot of his weapons. So we have his periscope here, a utility arm, an electroshock prod, his comp link, his lifeform scanner, and I think his fire extinguisher. The last one I'm not sure what it's called, so please do correct me if I'm wrong down in the comment section. And I do hope that they redo this figure in the future to add rocket booster accessories in time for maybe a Revenge of the Sith anniversary line. Anyway, first off, looking closely at his weapons here, I like how these are sculpted really nicely. I like how they feel durable. Well, relatively durable compared to some of the accessories that the model kit R2-D2 has, so these ones here don't break easily. Actually, if you've noticed, there's a bit of a stress here on the utility arm, so there were some instances where this one was bent for a few moments, and I'm glad that it didn't break, which was a real problem for me when it came to the model kit. Another thing that I like about these is they're painted nicely. I would have preferred a darker gunmetal gray for these sections, but I'm not too bummed out about this. I also like that they painted the other sections of these pieces with the right color, like this bronze-ish section here, really nice. And porting in these accessories is not that difficult, at least most of the time. So some of these go in the top of his head and some just here in the body. So here you just need to make sure the panels on the left and right are open, and you'll see some ports where you can stick in the accessories like this. Then at the top, I think there's two panels that you can open. We have one here at the back for the periscope and the other one for the scanner. I do recommend using maybe a tweezer or a sharp edge to pry this one open, as this is the part that's kind of difficult, especially if you've just cut your nails short. Anyway, having all his accessories ported in like this makes him look very menacing. And not that it's an accessory, but if you don't know, you can also extend these blue arm pieces on his front. Again, I recommend using a tweezer on this as it's easier. And wow, this just adds a whole new level of awesome to R2-D2 here. What I really love about Hasbro is they keep on innovating, like with this kind of stuff. In the model kit, you have to open up the figure itself and swap parts. So like there's a different part where the arms here are spread and then another where they're just in a normal closed position. So that kind of engineering is a bit of a hassle compared to this new one here. And then looking closely at the figure itself, so this R2-D2 figure looks amazing. Starting with the head, I'm loving the silver that we get on the dome here. I think it looks really clean. I like the blue that we get here as well. I think Hasbro nailed the shade of blue here. That's awesome. And looking at the details here, I'm really glad that they didn't skimp out on this. Again, the paint looks really good. I don't see anything messy here, like with the blue crossing over to the silver and vice versa. So that's awesome. And before we proceed with the rest of the figure, I want to show one of the best features of this R2-D2. So you can actually extend his neck like this. And I think this serves two purposes. One is so he can fit in a Naboo starfighter figure, and another is to store all his accessories here, which is, I think, the more important reason. And I think this is a superb piece of engineering that Hasbro gave us. I think this solves a huge potential problem of losing his accessories because these are so small. Anyway, storing them here is fairly easy, so there's no real specific order that you need to put them in here. I would suggest turning his head 90 degrees to the left or right, and then maybe extend it a bit more until the headpiece pops off. That way you can store some of the accessories here properly. Like for example, the scanner here is kind of thin in the middle, and the only part of this accessory that fits in here is this tip, so this end. So popping off the head like this gives you more space to position the accessories here safely. Anyway, I just want to show how useful this feature is because it allows you to bring his accessories with him all the time, like an actual astromech droid. And the rest of the figure looks awesome. So we get a nice clean white plastic material for the figure here, which they've painted blue and silver on specific sections, so that's great. Again, they didn't skimp out on the details here, except maybe for a few minor things. For example, we get the silver section here on the sides on the model kit, which this Black Series figure didn't have. I'm not too bummed out about this because, it's just a big deal that Hasbro even gave us a new R2-D2 figure with some cool new engineering features. But maybe one big difference between the two, I think, is the way the legs are positioned. So if you've noticed here, these details on the legs are in the opposite section or opposite position from each other. And I think that's because of the time period. So this model kit is a prequel trilogy, Revenge of the Sith R2-D2. And this new one here is from the original trilogy, which is after Revenge of the Sith. So my headcanon is that R2-D2 got some upgrades and changes in the years that followed. Moving on, like the model kit R2-D2, this new figure also has a third leg, but the mechanism for putting it out is different. So this might be one of my gripes about this figure. Unless you have relatively long nails, you'd really need something like a tweezer to pop this one out. Also, I don't have the old R2-D2 from Hasbro, but I think that one had wheels on the legs. So that's something I wish they kept in this new one here. But it's probably for the best to avoid this figure just rolling off your desk and falling on the floor. Anyway, overall, I'm loving the sculpt and paint apps on this figure here. Now let's go over the articulation on R2-D2. So being a non-human astromech droid, there is not a lot of articulation on this figure. So R2-D2 can rotate his head 360 degrees. That's awesome. And he can extend it upward as well, like we've seen earlier. His legs can rotate in their sockets too. Again, 360 degrees. His threads can also rotate, although it's limited. And lastly, his third leg can also rotate and move up and down as needed. Now for some figure comparisons, here's R2-D2 next to the Bandai model kit R2-D2. And I think Hasbro finally nailed the scale on this new figure here. I also plan on dirtying up this new figure to make it look more realistic and battle-worn, like what I did here on the model kit R2-D2. Also, I might be using this new R2-D2 figure for my stop motion animation moving forward, because if I haven't said this before, model kit figures do not feel very durable. The Black Series figures, you really feel in your hand that they won't break right away. And here's R2-D2 next to the Bandai model kit C-3PO, and I think these look great side by side. And here's R2-D2 next to some other original trilogy characters that I have. So we have the Bandai model kit C-3PO, and we have the Black Series Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Darth Vader. And after this video, I'll be reviewing the Black Series Return of the Jedi 40th Anniversary's Luke Skywalker. I'm still trying to find a good Princess Leia. I actually can't decide on what design or outfit for Princess Leia that I prefer as like my main Princess Leia. So if you do have some suggestions, I'd appreciate it down on the comment section below. So that's my review of the Black Series R2-D2. I think this figure has a great amount of accessories. I think the sculpt and paint ups on this figure are awesome. And I think the articulation is just right. It's what I would expect from an astromech droid. And since R2-D2 is my favorite fictional character of all time, I really love this figure. And if you're wondering where I got this figure, so I pre-ordered this figure from Hasbro Pulse itself. So if you want to check that out, there's a link in the description below. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this figure. Let me know what you think of my review. Please leave a comment below. And if you like this video, I do appreciate it if you support the channel by hitting that like button. And if you still haven't, please hit that subscribe as well as a notification bell. You can also follow me on social media, links in the description below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.